Hello and welcome to News Tonight. I am Rhoda Ngonzi, on sign language, Elizabeth Nakakoni. Let's take a look at the top stories. President Museveni responds to traders' concerns on high taxes. Government reopens Nakasozi-Chengera Road after preliminary repairs on the affected spot. Trump, Biden both cautious, vague on marijuana positions. And in sports, the Cricket Cranes Uganda national senior men's team has received a new coach. President Yoweri Museveni has responded to the concerns raised by traders regarding high taxes with a detailed explanation of Uganda's tax system and its objectives. The president convened a meeting on the 19th of April at State House in Entebbe with a multitude of traders and their representatives who expressed their concerns regarding the burdensome taxation they encounter.
Tata, His Excellency, in response
to the issues raised by traders who met the president last week on Friday 19th April 2024, President Yoweri Museveni has underscored the significance of these meetings along with prior engagements. He elaborated on the historic nature by stating that they address the pivotal debate of whether Uganda should break free from the cycle of producing what we do not consume and consuming what we do not produce, as summarized in the African Union document. He highlighted the predicament of Uganda and Africa, where raw materials are produced locally, processed into finished products abroad, and then imported back at significantly higher prices. He argued that not all sectors are taxed, emphasizing that activities such as buying and selling produce within Uganda are tax-exempt, as well as imports of machinery and raw materials, insisting that the rationale behind taxation is to build self-sufficiency and support local production. He addressed the issue of reselling imported goods to neighboring countries, cautioning against turning East Africa and Central Africa into a dumping ground for foreign goods. He emphasized the importance of developing Africa's own capacity and reducing dependency on imports. The president compared the job creation and economic benefits of importing consumer goods to the potential of local industries, citing the example of Nightingale Textile Factory. He stressed that locally made products not only create jobs but also contribute more to the economy through taxes and value addition. Regarding the proposal to make Uganda a re-export hub like Dubai, he cautioned the origin of the products being re-exported and emphasized the need to prioritize Uganda's interests over foreign ones. He acknowledged concerns about the IFRI's computer gadget and promised to study its impact on small businesses. However, he reiterated the importance of not being agents of foreign interests at the expense of Uganda's interests. Finally, President Museveni highlighted Uganda's indigenous wealth creation culture, citing examples of native resources that could be harnessed for economic development. In essence, President Museveni's response emphasized the government's commitment to supporting local industries, reducing dependency on imports, and fostering economic self-sufficiency while addressing the concerns raised by the traders. Wadulo Makanold for UBC.
And President Yoweri Museveni has this evening received a delegation from the African Union that is in the country to evaluate Uganda's bid to host the African Union Humanitarian Agency. Uganda submitted its bid under the auspices of the African Union, which was accepted and is now being evaluated by the team that paid a courtesy call on the president. Uganda is competing against Kenya, Equatorial Guinea and Nigeria to host the AU Humanitarian Agency agency. The delegation was led by Professor Julio Rakotoni-Rina, who is also the head of Health, Humanitarian Affairs and Social Development at the African Union. President Museveni, who welcomed members of the delegation, shared views with his guests about the establishment of the agency in Uganda. He expressed his optimism that Uganda will win the bid. Uganda comes second in hosting a large number of refugees after Ethiopia, that has 3.6 million. The Assembly of the African Union at the 11th AU Humanitarian Symposium that sat in Nairobi, Kenya in November 2023 adopted a decision to establish a humanitarian agency as part of African Union vision to strengthen its human architecture. Now, President Museveni has met and held discussions with Professor Kim Yong-myong, an investor from Japan, at State House Entebbe. Professor Kim is the owner of Ag Planter, a company interested in introducing acetic acid fertilizers in Uganda. The company that is based in Tokyo, Japan, produces acetic acid fertilizers through skip-on technology, a product that promotes high yields in plants and also helps them to resist diseases and drought. President Museveni welcomed the investor to Uganda and pledged government support on his part. Professor Kim expressed gratitude to President Museveni for hosting him and assured him that his company is ready to set up a factory in Uganda to produce the fertilizer. In the same meeting, Dr. Asia Godfrey, the Director, National Crops Resources Research Institute, informed the President that acetic acid is a key input that increases plant vigor, reduces plant diseases, and keeps away pests, increasing crop tolerance to drought and heat, thus increasing productivity. Dr. Asia further requested the President's approval for Ag Planters partnership with the National Agricultural Research Organization to conduct a widespread demonstration and commercialization of the product. Now, 2 private security guards have been arrested by police following an attempt to rob Equity Bank branch in Soroti district. The futile attempted heist took place this morning at 8:30.
Business came to a standstill along Soroti Main Street as the security fought off an attempted robbery at Equity Bank branch, Soroti City. 2 armed guards attached to Security Group Africa SGA private security firm were arrested as the main suspects in the attempted break-in. East Choga Police spokesperson Edson Obkulem confirmed the arrest of 2 private security personnel, a supervisor, and a guard to help with investigations over the attempted robbery of Equity Bank Soroti branch.
His counterpart was got at the scene and he was taken to our custodies pending further investigations.
Obkulem confirmed that the suspects are employees of Security Group Africa.
The guards who were taking care of the building or the bank, one of them was called on phone and he said that he was admitted at the hospital. However, on verifying the information, it was not true that the guard was at the hospital.
The Deputy Resident City Commissioner Soroti City East Edwin Benessa confirmed the arrest and warned private security guards against involvement in stealing from properties they are meant to safeguard.
They have lost colossal sums of money. The other issue that I've noted with concern is that behind this building there are no cameras. So I think the back era when they didn't put cameras behind. And this
Uganda Police Force recently threatened to cancel licenses of private security guards over misuse of firearms and involvement in theft from the premises they are expected to be guarding.
How power went off just within that proximity of time when the thieves were attempting to break into this bank. That poses a very big question that needs to be answered. That just within that same period of time when the thieves were breaking into the bank, power checked.
Meanwhile, government has reopened Nakasozi Chengira Road after preliminary repairs on the affected spot. Head of Communications at Uganda National Roads Authority, Alan Sempebwa, confirmed the development and announced normal traffic flow. Now, plans are also underway to work on all access roads, starting with Natete Nakauka Road.
As you can see, our engineers had a sleepless night, I should say. We all camped here on site to ensure that we undertake the necessary intervention, that's a quick restoration of the section along Buddo Chengira.
Uganda National Roads Authority has reopened Nakasozi Chengira Bridge along Cala Masaka Road after carrying out preliminary repairs. The road is now fully open for normal traffic flow as confirmed by the head of communication, Uganda National Roads Authority, Alan Sempebwa.
I can confirm to you that the section between Chengira and Buddo has now been reinstated and traffic can ably flow smoothly along this link on the Kampala Masaka Highway.
The road had weakened and caved in on Saturday night due to water pressure following a heavy morning downpour. The culverts that had been supporting the water flow at the bridge and the layers of the bridge had reportedly weakened and have also been partially replaced.
The calamities caused by weather change, we also faced by increasing settlement and degradation of our environment. You know, as you've seen, there is increasing settlement and human activity around these waterways, so the waters do not have a clear or smooth path within which to flow. So ultimately the water finds itself in our homes and in damaging our infrastructure as well.
The spokesperson UNRA Alan Sempebwa says the repairs are a temporary solution, but the main repairs are underway.
Maybe to clarify is we're undertaking a remedial temporary works. This is not a permanent solution, but this is meant to give us a stable, smooth surface, but also to ensure reliability of this connection. So this is mainly temporary as we undertake or design or prepare for major and permanent works.
On the contrary, works on access roads including Natete Nakauka are yet to start.
Thankfully, government has in its plans programs to work on alternative routes. For example, the Natete Nakauka Road is one of the major access routes or relief routes for the Kampala Masaka Highway. Right now, the good news is we have a contractor. Government of Uganda has already picked on a contractor, that is Kodrosi, to start construction of the Natete Nakauka Road. So it will be a major relief route for this section.
In the meantime, the public will continue using both the main and access roads to ease traffic in and out of the city center.
If access routes were well done, well prepared, I think it would do us a lot of good.
Susan Naung and Juman Samba reporting for UBC TV.
And the operations of the National Bureau of Non-Governmental Organizations will be executed under department in the Ministry of Internal Affairs. This follows Parliament's decision to pass the Non-Governmental Organizations Amendment Bill 2024. The move is part of the advanced strategies to champion rationalization of government agencies and public expenditure, which called for adjustments in the legal framework governing the affected entities.
Parliament has passed the Non-Governmental Organizations Amendment Bill 2024. The new legislation places a department under the Ministry of Internal Affairs to carry the services rendered by the National Board for NGOs.
To restructure and reorganize the Bureau by eliminating a bloated structures and financial ambiguities in order to operate effectively as a department in the ministry.
The MPs took into consideration the complexity in the services as rendered by the Board for NGOs, which accommodated about 21 staffs, urging that the watchdog function can be transferred to the Ministry of Internal Affairs.
The ministry further informed the committee that the lack of provision for funds for these allowances and NGO board and adjudication committee had accumulated areas of 173 billion.
The claims of fueling money laundering also came up as MPs cite that the NGOs have topped the game.
And I want you people to be very, very careful when you're talking about NGOs. NGOs. This is where money is being laundered into the country. This is how homosexuality money is coming into the country. This is how this money. I want you to be very, very careful when you're talking about this.
However, submitting a minority report on the bill, the Ruhinda South Member of Parliament, Captain Donoz Yukahonda, cautioned the House on mainstreaming, saying this would put at risk the already built capacity of these NGOs.
To designate members of the Bureau from within the ministry will deny the government the expertise required to organize and regulate NGOs' activities due to the lack of representation of the NGOs in decision-making structure.
Some members of parliament disagreed with the minority report, saying some NGOs have been operating contrary to the country's values and culture.
When we allow the NGOs to operate separate from the state, then you'll find that the objectives of our nation, protection of our people, will be muddled through.
Some, however, expressed concern on how the Ministry of Internal Affairs will monitor the huge number of these NGOs.
It's clearly you can see that the department can't monitor these NGOs.
Lydia Chomkama and Gloria Gutabinji, Parliament.
The Equal Opportunities Commission has expressed concern over the increasing poverty levels in the country, especially in areas distanced from the central region. This was contained in the presentation of the 2024-25 Ministerial Equal Opportunity Compliance Report to the Ministry of Finance, where Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development was ranked best.
The Finance Public Management Act demands that before the passing of any financial budget, it's the mandate of the Equal Opportunities Commission to verify whether ministries have complied with the Gender and Equity Assessment. Before passing the 2024-2025 budget, the Commission verified the compliance of the ministries. In the National Budget and Ministerial Policy Statement, the chairperson of the Commission, Hajat Safia Naule Juko, handed over the report to the Minister of Finance.
Thank you.
In the report, all ministries and government entities passed with the required mark, with the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development being the overall with 96%.
To inform you that all the ministerial policy statements, that is 162 votes, passed the assessment with a score of 50% and above. The best entities were Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, 96%, Ministry of Health, 92%, Equal Opportunities Commission, 91%, Ministry of Education, 90%.
According to the report, although government has initiatives like Parish Development Model, Emyoga among others, Ugandans are still living below the poverty line of 22%.
Poverty remains life-threatening development challenges for the country associated with increase in income inequalities. The Poverty Status Report 2021 reveals that the current poverty situation across sub-region goes as follows. We have Acholi at 67.6, Karamoja at 65.6, Buked at 34.7.
Although most of the ministries passed the mark, there are some recommendations highlighted for better performance in the next financial year.
Share 24-25, government commits to allocate 1 trillion shillings for the full implementation of the parish development model by focusing on the other 6 pillars to facilitate the full realization of the intended outcomes. Minister of Agriculture intends to procure assorted on-farm post-harvest handling and value addition equipment to support subsistence farmers and enterprise groups under the PDM framework to reduce post-harvest losses, especially among women and young people.
Minister for Finance, Planning and Economic Development, Matia Kasaija, held the Commission for Addressing Gender and Equity.
The rich are rich, the poor are poor. I don't want that scenario really to be in Uganda. We must, there will be differences, of course, but not dire. Where people cannot eat, must really work very, very diligently to get rid of.
He cited the need to plan for the coming generation to address unemployment among the youth.
Let us work as hard as possible to get people off the street so that they also can enjoy good life. That's why we have decided to industrialize, because the industry will give you many jobs.
Rebecca Nantongo, Susan Inabugude, UBC News.
We've hit refresh with Castle Light. A premium new look. With the shiny silver label. An innovative cold indicator. A premium green neck label for a crisp and easy drinking beer. Fresh new look. Experience the fresh Newcastle Light.
Fred!
Osmosis.
Freddy! Fred Dollar, my boss, CEO Inojo, the general of generals, the conqueror of conquerors, the first and the final, the sky above the skies, the promised land, the terms and the conditions, the international king crocodile, the source of the
Osmosis.
the Nile.
I don't have money today.
Just take a polite loan of 200k to stock my shop. The signs and symptoms of success. The bank commander, not the bank teller.
Why hassle for a loan when you've got MTN Momo? We're sorting. Use the Momo app or dial *165*5# for all quick loans. Choose from the different loan options from our partners and get one that works for you. Together, we're unstoppable.
Gold. We all want it. That soft yellow glow of a subdued sun in your hands. That precious polish of elegance. To hold it is one thing, but to taste it is everything else. Relish the satisfying taste of a beer, unmatched in quality, unmatched in consistency, and with 23 Global Gold Awards. A beer unmatched in gold.
You are still watching News Tonight. The Uganda National Roads Authority is among the agencies to survive the ongoing rationalization process. Now, a report of the Parliamentary Committee on Physical Infrastructure reveals that repealing the UNRA Act 2006 as proposed by government would create a setback in the national infrastructure service delivery. The MPs agreed to debunk the government proposal retaining UNRA as an independent entity, which only needs restructuring since it has served its purpose persistently.
Okay, Minister, first move the bill, then.
The last minute's debate during the Tuesday plenary session commended the contributions of the Uganda National Roads Authority.
And they needed,
chaired by Speaker Anita Among, the proposal to repeal the UNRA Act 2006 was caught offside.
When you look at everybody's face is here for UNRA.
We want to say that if you are not convinced that UNRA is doing work, we empower you to join UNRA, or you ask for ministry to be rationalized to go and join UNRA because it is doing work.
Right Honourable Speaker, members, I beg to move that Uganda National Road Authority Act Repeal Bill 2024 be rejected in its totality. Thank you.
The Parliamentary Committee on Physical Infrastructure, chaired by Kazo County Representative Dan Kimosho, reveals that the revenue collection by UNRA is appealing. Hence, mainstreaming its services with the Ministry of Works and Transport will cause financial loss in both short and long term.
The committee was further informed that the private sector have no reassurance that rationalization of UNRA will be a better option compared to the prevailing status quo.
UNRA, since 2015, has an estimated asset value of 5.4 billion and has constructed 3,686 kilometers of new paved national roads compared to the 2,800 kilometers 50 years before UNRA's creation. The MPs recommend that the country still needs the services of UNRA independently to enhance the infrastructure journey.
It would be inappropriate for the country to depart from the norm of good practices when it comes to road infrastructure development.
In the next few weeks, we are going to have a road project launched from Koboko to Moyo for construction of a road under a grant from World Bank. It is very important for the minister to clarify how such a project will be implemented if UNRA is removed now.
The MPs ask for a restructuring process in UNRA to improve its capacity, saying that repealing the UNRA Act 2006 would resurrect the challenges which led to the creation of UNRA.
The only issue has been lack of funding. Money. Even the Honorable Minister, he knows it very well. Even if he takes it there, the Minister of Works, the moment there is no money, we would not. So we thought that we would have a bit of time. This would be the time
Honorable members,
to review Minister Road Agents and UNRA to see especially the staff and have a lean staff, downsize it.
The Minister of Works and Transport has been advised to consider amending the UNRA Act 2006 to address the salary disparities by empowering the minister to retrieve some of the powers of the UNRA board. As moved by Kampala Central MP Muhammad Nsereko, this is a food for thought for even other ministries.
The issue of salary disparity is not only limited to UNRA. It cuts across entire public service.
That we use the appraisal method in performance contracts of these technical officers so that the minister can hold a whip and exercise his executive powers where need be. Rather than winding up the agency, let's have empowerment of the minister to have the whip over the agency, and we have harmony.
Daniel Mugoya, Gloria Gutabinji, UBC News.
Makerere University Endowment Fund has launched the 4th edition of the Makerere Run with the aim of creating a more inclusive academic environment to students living with disabilities. State Minister in charge of Youth and Children Affairs, Balam Bargahara, launched the run and underscored the role of people with disabilities, what they play in the society. The run will be held on the 18th of August this year.
The 4th edition of Makerere, run by Makerere University Fund, seeks to enhance inclusivity of students with disabilities within the university community by creating a more comprehensive academic environment. State Minister in charge of Youth and Children Affairs, Dr. Balam Bargahara, underscored the role played by people with disabilities and pledged government support.
As the Vice Chancellor indicated, I'm also going to work closely with my boss, the Prime Minister of Uganda, Right Honorable Nabanja, to all government officials, those who went through Makerere and those who didn't go but wish Makerere well, to take part in this exercise. That one I pledge. I'm here not only to launch the Makerere Run, but also to endorse it, support this organization, and come August 18th, 2024.
Dr. Balam encourages the youth to tap into the youth livelihood funds set aside by the government to start up their own business ventures to support their studies.
So I encourage you young people, participate in these youth programs, get funds from Centenary. You don't need the security. It's a revolving fund. When you get it, pay back. As a student, do business, because most of you are lucky you have parents who have educated you. We have not been given a chance. We were not given a chance. We hustled. We are self-made in Uganda, what we have Bambani. So Mubambane, as much as you have parents, please tap in this opportunity and you make a living.
Proceeds from this year's run will go towards the construction of the state-of-the-art Student Center and Disability Support Unit at Makerere University. Makerere Vice Chancellor Professor Barnabas Nawangwe says this will attract more students to benefit from the project.
The idea of Student Center and the Disability Support Unit is clearly mentioned in the university strategic plan, but we have been held back by resource challenges. And Honorable Minister, the quality of an organization is these days measured by the care they take for the people with disability. The number of students with disability is set to rise when we begin implementing phase 2 of the MasterCard Foundation, because under that arrangement, 20% of the recipients are supposed to be persons with disabilities. So
supporting students with disabilities is expected to enhance their academic journey.
When you walk around Makerere, there is no place where students can congregate. When they are not in their halls of residence, they are just relaxing. Or there's no place, central place, where if they wanted banking facilities, they can go. If they wanted entertainment, even a cinema, you know, a place for people with disability.
And as we engender the 2030 agenda of leaving nobody behind, according to the Sustainable Development Goals, we would like to invite all of us to participate in this cause so that we can make the lives of students better.
The Student Center will feature essential facilities such as a business hub, innovation center, dining area, and a dedicated disability support unit. At least 20 billion Uganda shillings is required for the project to get started. The run will be held under the theme, Supporting Students with Disabilities. Mary Namkose, UBC News.
And the Ministry of Education and Sports has partnered with the Innovation for Poverty Action to strengthen data systems for better evidence-based decision and policy making. In the third cross-country learning exchange meeting, the ministry has committed to work with Innovation for Poverty Action to implement an embedded evidence lab initiative to foster institutional research to guide policy making.
A collaboration between the Ministry of Education and Sports with Innovation for Poverty Action is significant in enhancing evidence-based policy making in the education sector. This includes incubating and institutionalizing embedded evidence labs within the ministry to address complex challenges facing the sector in policy making.
It's important. For me, I'm excited that many countries are coming together and they are recognizing the importance of data and they are recognizing the importance of evidence-based decision making in particular, because we must make proper decisions and they should be evidence-based if we are to have effective policies implemented.
The cross-country learning exchange targets to compare and facilitate the improvement of education research and policies among member countries. This will enable coexistence of education standards.
We have challenges along the system. Sometimes you don't have enough teachers. Sometimes you have challenges with the quality of teachers. Sometimes you don't have enough instructional materials, but we try. And I don't want to agree that the quality is poor. Otherwise, we do our best.
Despite the cross-country learning exchanges, the collaboration is cognizant of plagiarizing policies and research. Member states are encouraged to allocate reasonable resources towards the research.
We do not end at creating data, but we go ahead to look at who are these people who are going to use the data. Do they have the capacity to use the data? We build the capacity of those on how to use the evidence that we have come up with. And this is done in a strategic manner with the partners that we work with. So that's the angle from which we eliminate the issue of plagiarism.
Education and Sports initiated an independent department for research and innovation and will leverage on this department to assess the implementation of different programs by the ministry. This department is mandated to spur research in matching the current education dynamic environment.
We have done a pilot. We looked at about 45 schools in countrywide. So the study is in the final process.
Of recent, the Innovation for Poverty Action collaborated with the Ministry of Education Policy and Research Department to collect and analyze data on the poor performance of science subjects at lower secondary. Abdul Nasir Lubama and Rogers Kumagum for UBC.
And with that, we take a quick break. When we return, business news.
Cheers to something refreshingly different. Putting the brakes on a fast-paced world. Slowing down. Just enough to stand out. Cheers to the beer that does it differently. Brewed longer for extra refreshment. Refreshingly Club. Alcohol is not for sale to persons under 18. Please drink responsibly.
Ebisera by'okuzzaayo abaana mu masomero tebiteekwa kukaluubiriza n'akatono. Eno kusimba nnyiriri mpanvu kano kalipagano ka bidduka. Simanyi kuzunga na banka siripsi. Kati osobola okusasula school fees z'omwana wo ate n'okola n'ebirala ntoko ku ssimu ye ey'omu ngalo. Ekikola kyangu nnyo. Nyiga bunyezi *165*8 ogoberera ebikulagiriddwa oba okozese app ya MTN Momo. Ate kati okola ki olwaleero? MTN Mobile Money Uganda Limited erungamizibwa banka enkulu ya Uganda.
After the massive launch of the Museveni Awoma hit song in Kololo, Mukono, Nabweru Wakiso District and Masulita War Zone, Munamasa Kansereko Emma takes Museveni Awoma to Mityana on Friday, the 26th of April 2024 at Mityana Saza Ground. We shall start with Bulungi Wansi, a health camp, and then a boom of entertainment with thousands of comedians and artists, all at a free entry. Anti-Jaja Gabude, His Excellency Yoweri Museveni will be our chief guest. Come, let's have fun with Jaja. Don't miss.
Now in business news, Chinyara Sugar Limited has injected 100 million shillings to sponsor secondary and primary inter-schools music, dance and drama competitions at Kinyara Social Club, Masindi. General Manager Ravi says the music and drama campaign is to create awareness for the community to grow sugarcane.
7 secondary schools and 12 primary schools in Masindi district participated in the 2024 Kinyara Sugar Limited music, dance and drama competitions. The competition, sponsored by Kinyara Sugar Limited at 100 million shillings, was a boost in preparations for secondary and primary music festivals due July to August this year. Kinyara Sugar Works Communications Manager told UBC the music, dance and drama is a talent development among young people.
School participated in 3 items: drama, skits, dance and original composition. Sugarcane burning, stealing, poaching and eating, amidst the importance of Kinyara Sugar Limited to the communities.
Among some items presented by the learners was a campaign to stop sugarcane burning, cane poaching and ending child labor in sugarcane growing areas. The General Manager Kinyara Sugar Limited, Ravi Lamaringan, said the campaign was to mobilize the communities grow sugarcane.
Very much for participating in this event. We noticed that it brings a lot of motivation among the children. They are learning each other.
But Masindi local government called for partnerships in agriculture, infrastructure development, education, environment and health.
We did have Chinyara in certain aspects. We would have a crisis as government. We have Chinyara in infrastructure development, especially roads. In education, we know the contribution they make. Environment, we have in health, and therefore our performance greatly is contributed to by what Kinyara offers us.
We are not only for academic but also for talent identification. And this is in line with the current curriculum of Education that is promoting talents.
Karungi from Uganda Broadcasting Corporation receive his certificate of appreciation.
Let's continue.
Amina Francisco, UBC.
On the international scene, Somali citizens living in Lower Shebele of Sidijale have appealed to President Museveni to let UPDF soldiers under the African Transition Mission in Somalia to stay and stabilize the fragile security in the country. This follows plans for the mission to leave Somalia by December 15th, 2024. The Somali nationals in Sidijale, speaking in an interview, revealed an imminent threat of the Al-Shabaab reclaiming the already liberated areas.
Al-Shabaab, a Somali-based Islamist militant group with links to Al-Qaeda, launched attacks in Somalia after the death of Saidi Barre in 1992, disrupting peace in Mogadishu for over 2 decades before the intervention of the African Mission in Somalia, AMISOM, in 2007, which was spearheaded by UPDF troops and later joined by the Burundian troops for a period of 6 years, before other contributing countries like Kenya, Nigeria and Ghana came on board. The Horn of Africa country Somalia had turned into a failed state and a source of terrorism in East Africa member states. Islamic extremism groups have since the 1990s to the 21st century challenged faces in Somalia, from warlords to Islamic courts and final to the present elusive Al-Shabaab terrorists, all initially bankrolled by Al-Qaeda under Osama bin Laden and their allies in Yemen and Iran. Despite being a food basket for Somalia and a home to the paternal uncle of former Al-Qaeda leader and financial Osama bin Laden, Seljare area in Lower Shabelle was a stronghold base for the Al-Shabaab terrorists. However, it became a prime target for the UPDF under ATMIS, since it was the tactical operation and planning base for the deadly attacks by the Al-Shabaab terrorists in Mogadishu and the other liberated areas in the Upper Shabelle region and Baidoa. The command of the 40th Battalion Group at Seljare Forward Operating Base cannot offer marginal explains their lead for weakening the terrorists.
Capacity building of integrated SNA, which is Somali forces in the Lower Shabelle.
ATMIS troops have provided the Somalia Security Agency with the expertise and tactics in defusing landmines, a serious threat to warfare armored vehicles.
3, 2, 1, fire in the hole!
We have been here, we have detonated over 10 IEDs, and we normally experience them during our time of convoy, the main supply convoy from base camp to Sirijari. The most common type of IED we have experienced ever since we reached here is the RC, the command.
Village elders here in Seljare village say the peace ushered in by ATMIS troops can't be underestimated.
Especially people of Seljare. Seljare is a very good place and secure, and we reach that limit, that extent. ATMIS and local forces have worked together, and they have delivered a good work.
Leaders in Seljare village appeal to President Museveni of Uganda to ignore withdrawal demands of ATMIS by foreign actors, stating an imminent threat of Al-Shabaab terrorists reclaiming the already liberated areas by ATMIS forces from the Somali National Army, which they say its capacity to manage the country's security affairs is still subject to scrutiny and wanting.
Now they have stood up, but they cannot work. Send out this message to President Museveni. The meetings he has taken part in Africa or Europe or UN,
Somalia will
that Somalia ATMIS may not go out of Somalia. Let him deliver that message to the international community. If ATMIS goes, People, Kenya and Ethiopia and Uganda will not be safe.
UPDF under ATMIS has been carrying out community outreach programs to women in the markets of Seljar that have seen women getting economically empowered.
I'm grateful for them to visit us and the way they are coordinating with us as local population. We are the workers, the business women of the market who always interact with ATMIS, especially UPDF. The way we are interacting, it is good. They always support us with any other needs if we have. There is no problem we have with them unless they are our fellow brothers.
Uganda is the biggest contributing country in terms of human resource of boots on ground and military hardware used in theater operations under the African Transition Mission in Somalia. Amwaiva Njuko.
And U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is heading to China this week for talks with senior officials in Shanghai and Beijing to discuss a range of issues. This including the Russia's war against Ukraine, the Middle East crisis, the South China Sea, and human rights.
From Asia to the Middle East, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Monday unveiled the State Department's annual country report on human rights practices, a day before he travels to China for talks, where he will raise rights issues.
Rohingya in Burma, Uyghurs in Xinjiang, each victims of genocide and crimes against humanity. The United States will continue to raise our deep concerns directly with the governments responsible.
Blinken has also spoken out on China's support for Russia in its war with Ukraine. The United States, together with other nations in the Group of Seven, has urged China to stop transferring dual-use materials and weapons components that Russia is using to advance its military production. The U.S. said it is prepared to take further steps as necessary, but Beijing has dismissed Washington's concerns.
In principle, the normal cooperation between China and Russia in various fields should not be disrupted or restricted.
Former U.S. military officials say more sanctions are needed.
Absolutely, the Russian war effort is supported and undergirded by the support from China, Iran, and North Korea. The United States' ability to hold China accountable for this is through sanctions.
Washington is enlisting European allies for similar measures, according to analysts.
In contrast to the United States, the European Union has not really sanctioned in Chinese individuals or companies to the same degree as the United States. And so there may be an attempt, with the G7 meeting to try to get more support from Europeans to take those kinds of actions.
Other pressing issues on Blinken's agenda include counter-narcotics, establishing talks on artificial intelligence, and boosting military-to-military communication amid tensions over the South China Sea. But U.S. officials and analysts do not anticipate major breakthroughs to emerge from the Secretary's meetings this week in China. Nike Chin, VOA News, Washington.
And now in sports, with only 41 days to their maiden appearance at the ICC T20 Men's World Cup, the Cricket Cranes team, Ugandan national senior men's team, have today received a new head coach in Abe Sharma. Sharma was unveiled by the Uganda Cricket Association this morning at Lugogo, and he will be tasked to lead the team at the World Cup stage as his first assignment.
Famously known for his wicket-keeping and batting during his playing days, the 50-year-old joins the Ugandan team on a 3-year contract after spells with India A, India Under-19, India Women's National Cricket Team, and Delhi Ranjani team. The coach, who was unveiled this morning at Lugogo, takes over from Lawrence Mahatlani, who left last year.
The time has come to introduce to you our head coach,
as far as Uganda cricket is concerned. Final person who is going to take the cricket cranes ahead of World Cup operations and through the World Cup tournament and henceforth. The gentleman before you is Mr. Sharma Abhay, Indian origin. He turned out to be the best candidate out of 54 applicants. He's played cricket for 12 years with the Indian team, with India and England. He's a level 3 coach. He's attached to the National Cricket Academy of India for 7 years. He has worked with the national side with India. He has a very big task, and I know I have belief in him and trust in him. Board has already approved him to take on the boys.
With his vast coaching knowledge and experience, Sharma's first assignment will be to prepare and guide the cricket team for the World Cup.
We have already identified few areas. One is fielding, the other is wicket keeping, which is going to be the key factor. When you play the top sides, your fielding determines where you're going to land up, how much target you're going to face, how much target you're going to set up. Once you're setting up the target, it's all about batting. But when you're defending the target, the pressure comes on the fielding. If we do the fielding well, the bowling looks better. So there are certain areas we are looking forward to enhance in the unit, and we are moving in the right direction. The way we had a last session yesterday, it was really nice to see that the way boys are eager to learn, and we have discussed few areas, and in the process for the preparation and our process, we'll try and cover all those areas to the best of our ability.
He obviously comes highly recommended, so looking forward to working with him and seeing what he brings on board. And as a team, we'll give him our full support, and hopefully he can add some value to the group.
The team is set to travel to Sri Lanka on the 25th of April 2024 for their final training tour that will last 21 days.
This is a final stretch for us, probably the last bit of cricket we might get before the World Cup. So it's very important for us to make sure everything is in gear, to make sure all our boxes are ticked. So it's a very important tour for us.
Now going into Sri Lanka again, from Ghana we know we should work on the battle period over 7 to 15, and that is what we have been working on. We need a lot of aggression, a lot of running, and a lot of smartness in that period.
The introduction of the new coach is a great push for the team as they draw closer to their maiden appearance at the World Cup stage. Uganda qualified for the 2024 ICC T20 Men's World Cup after winning 5 of its 6 games in the 2023 Africa T20 World Cup qualifiers, causing a major upset against Zimbabwe with a 5-wicket victory. Grace Joyce Kingisa, UBC News.
Well, that does it for News Tonight. Thank you for sticking with us. Elizabeth Nakakuni on Sign Language. I am Rhoda Ngonzi. We'll leave you with Jasper with the weather update.
Good evening. Welcome you once again to our daily weather forecast from the Ghana National Meteorological Authority. I'm Jasper. In the morning, most parts of the country had sunny intervals together with partly cloudy conditions. And for the satellite analysis today, the rain belt is diffuse over our country, and this will contribute to enhanced rainfall in the next 3 days. Tomorrow morning, we are anticipating light thunder rains across Cala Masaka, and the lowest light rains will be expected. For the eastern parts of the country, we are forecasting light thunder rains across Jinja, Toro, and in Soti it will be partly cloudy. While for the western parts of the country, we are forecasting light rains across the entire region. And for the northern sector, we are anticipating partly cloudy conditions together with sunny intervals that will persist for some time. Later in the afternoon, Kampala will have partly cloudy conditions and temperatures will be around 28 degrees Celsius. And for Masaka, light thunder rains will be expected with a high of 27 degrees Celsius. Nakasongola, 29 degrees Celsius with light thunder rains. For the eastern parts of the country, sunny conditions will persist with a high of 29 degrees Celsius across Jinja, and in Toro, partly cloudy conditions will be expected, apart from Soti, where light rains will be expected with a high of 30 degrees Celsius. Western parts of the country in the afternoon, we are forecasting light thunder showers, apart from Masindi with partly cloudy conditions, and temperatures will be around 30 degrees Celsius. northern parts of the country, we are forecasting the entire region to have light rains, and temperatures will be from 29 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. Across the globe, we are forecasting Cairo to have sunny intervals with a high of 42 degrees Celsius, and in Dubai, sunny intervals are expected with a high of 32 degrees Celsius, and for Nairobi, light showers will be expected with a high of 26 degrees Celsius. Thank you so much for watching our daily weather forecast. For more information, you can visit our website. Good evening.
UBC